How hot is the coffee where you are?
And I'm used to Stanley Nyaringita. And if you're preparing to plant some trees, make sure there's some real trees that you're going to be planting. Pun intended. Anyway, karibu sana. Today on Thursday, we're discussing and giving you matters, some whole legal tips. In case you have a whole child custody, manenos, and you're wondering, how do I deal with this? We're going to be discussing that. The whole parent, you're not really married to this person, but you have a child with them. So how do you ensure that you have custody? Okay. Yes, and you co-parent.
And there's one such discussion on X right now. Someone is talking about what is happening in their real life. They split up with the mother, he split up with the mother of his children. Now he doesn't even have access to the children. They had to go to court. So it is one of those conversations that Kenyans need to have.
Oh yes, and we'll be having a lawyer right here just telling us what you really need to know. So stick around for that at around 8 a.m. Before that, State of the Nation will be coming up.
All right, and before all that, let's take a quick look at the headlines this morning on The Standard. Limuru love affair clouds ouster trial, and this is a very interesting front page for The Standard. Okay, we do have the Business Daily. KRA pressure on landlords signals fresh rent increases. Landlords are not very happy with that demand for housing levy by government.
On this time, MPs hike travel cash in rather as judiciary face budget cuts.
That's a star.
Oh, yes.
And of course, you can realize that Mythical Limuru features on all the dailies. And before we get to the Citizen, I think we had missed the Nation.
Ikukumbele.
Oh,
Ikukumbele.
Because now we'll have to go through all
yes,
this. Yes, it is here. Yes. Schools set to reopen amid safety fears. That's the Daily Nation. And yes, I was looking for Mythical Limuru.
Yes.
on that page as well. Before we get to, yes, this is the headline I was looking for. Tumbo Siloshiba, that's a big headline, and that is in reference to KRA and that demand for 1.5% housing levy for landlords. That's why they're calling them Tumbo Siloshiba.
And it looks like a title for a riwaya and a set book.
Hey, riwaya, umenirudisha mbali.
Back in the 90s and 80s, Mudavadi and Wetangula's big no to Ruto matters political parties and just folding them to form and join UDA.
All right.
Hiyo ni kama haina ya Mythical Limuru.
No, Mythical Limuru has to be there.
Oh, yes.
It is one of those discussions that is not missing on any of the front dailies. Of course.
No, his face though.
Oh, his face, alongside the doctor strike. We'll be looking at that and more later on. But let's cross over into Tanzania.
Wingu la tanda, the whole matters political parties. Mboya hoji ukimya wa kanuni za uchaguzi. 30 asema ni kilio cha wadau wote wachambua sheria mpya za uchaguzi. Professor Kabudi asema kuna mabadiliko. Really has to do with the constitution.
Uchaguzi serikali za mitaa. So it's local government elections in Tanzania. They have the story about bei ya gesi ya kupika kupunguza makali. Okay. That's in Tanzania. That's a big headline in Tanzania. And if we could go back to, in Uganda, of course, the census, roadblocks are back ahead of census start. So
tonight.
The census tonight.
Yes, but then now the whole enumeration really begins tomorrow. A lot of the exercise, because they're saying sleep wherever you'll be sleeping. And I think that's on the new vision. There, here it is. Sleep where you want to be counted. Says UB. The Uganda.
Shunga usiende ile boma ufai kuambiwa wewe huko. Lala nyumbani bwana.
That's according to the Uganda Bureau of Statistics. Just telling. So basically, it does start at night, but then the whole enumeration exercise begins officially tomorrow. It will be going for the next 9 days until the 19th of May.
I can advise them. You know, the last census in 2019. I don't think you were counted. Were you born yet? Anyway, so. The thing is, in Kenya, we were being asked if you own a boat.
Oh, yeah.
And we were thinking, why should I own a boat?
Why are you asking me this
now,
question?
Almost 5 years later is when we're discovering,
yes,
a boat could actually come in handy.
Oh, yes.
So, yes, maswali muhimu.
Our Ugandan brothers and sisters.
Back to Bongo. Decades-long row with a Dane now in The Hague. Tanzania is in the multi-billion shilling arbitration after Danish investor Finn von Verden Petersen initiated proceedings in The Hague as a dispute that dates back to the 1970s drag on. And yes, an image there of The Hague. Okay, inside Tanzania's 4.7 trillion shilling cooking gas energy plan. Matters cooking gas also making it to the front page of the Citizen. It's a big discussion in Tanzania this morning. All right, those are the dailies, and we'll be back to look at them a lot more in detail. For now, let's take a look at the traffic situation. And on our big, we still don't have a name for this, mega. For this mega.
Tutafie jina Uganda majesta local.
Nkurunziza. So right, all the major tributaries into town are looking good. You can see Wayakiwe is green all the way from Limuru down to Gitaru, all the way Westlands into town. I can see even Mlolongo all the way into town is looking good, and I can go as far back as Kitengela. Come to Mombasa Road and all the way, whether using Expressway or Mombasa Road itself, it's looking good. Even now, as I expand, there's nothing to report about from that direction. Kiambu Road is also looking good this morning. But I've realized there's quite some traffic on Kiambu Road for the time we usually come to work, which is a bit earlier than most. From that direction that we're not going to say. Thika Road itself is looking good as well. From Githurai all the way towards town, and there's no incident so far.
Understandably, the past 3 nights there haven't been rain, so
yes,
it would make sense.
So we're back to normal traffic, I guess.
Yes.
So yes, so far so good on Thika Road as well. Let's take a look at... now the map is too big, you can't even see everything. Let's take a look at Langata Road, which should be here. Yes. Langata Road is looking good so far. It's not yet clear, but at least from Bomas of Kenya all the way towards... Langata Road is looking good all the way to Nyayo Stadium roundabout. And finally, let's take a look at Jogoo Road. Where's Jogoo Road? This map is now misbehaving. It's too big, I can't see anything. All right, yes. This is the road I'm looking for. It is here, all the way from Donholm. It is yet... and my director is telling me that my fingers are not meant for this kind of technology. Ni sawa tu. Watu wa Mani wanakuanga na uchungu sana.
Zooming in, I had seen Kangundu Road had some few spots of...
Let's finish up with Jogoo Road.
Yes,
nothing much to report about. In fact, it's looking much fairer. It's looking much fairer than most roads, than how it usually looks. Just a bit of a slowdown at Makadara there, but everything else. You're talking about Kangundu Road. Yes,
Kangundu Road should be somewhere. But meanwhile, yes, before you... the whole Embakasi.
This is Airport North Road. Just before that, turning into Outer Ring Road, there's a bit of a traffic snarl up there on the bridge.
It's quite...
this is where, yes. So this section of the road is currently slow, and this is a bridge coming from the Kenya Airways offices towards Mombasa Road. You can see a bit of a slowdown there. That section of the road is at a standstill at this time. That means if you're coming from Utawala or even Nyayo Estate as well,
yes.
because you have to use that road, you could experience some delays. You talked about Kangundu Road, and this is Mama Lucy Hospital. This should be Kangundu Road.
There it is.
There's a bit of a snarl up here, and it's disappeared.
Here it is. You can see just zooming in on the same bits and pieces of the red. Just before you hit around Saika area.
Okay.
But, well, probably it's the whole Matatus.
Yes. So a bit of that section of the road is at a standstill at this time of morning, which is a bit too early to have a standstill on the road. Yeah.
Right. Let's take a look at how the weather is looking like. But it is optimistic today, and even the fact that we are getting into the weekend, we do expect how things are going to be looking like. So this is a weather update in Nairobi and its metropolitan. I'm talking about Kiambu, parts of Syokimau there, as well as parts of Kajiado North, parts of Kitengela, Athi River there. This is how the weather might be looking like today. As of now, it's 16 degrees Celsius, but it promises to get as hot during the day, temperatures as high as 22 degrees Celsius. Some parts of this metropolitan will be getting some thunder and some probably above average rainfall, getting into 70% precipitation. That's quite high.
That's later in the evening after Friday.
Yes, later in the evening. So this is one of those days that, well, it's a weekend really. It's a Junior Friday, so you should really, it's just advising you get out of work earlier.
And hii mvua ikupate mahali
ushatulia. Unangojea hadi Monday.
Usiharibu holiday. Floods isikupate tu mahali barabara.
Oh yes. And because, just to update you on how the whole time will be until the next time we give you a weather update on Monday. This is how things are promising to look like. On Friday, 24 degrees Celsius, some above average rainfall to be expected with some thunderstorms in the area. That's actually today. Now, Ijumaa is Friday. For Friday, some light showers.
Holiday weather.
Yeah, the holiday weather. And then from there, just some light showers, kabisa, 26 degrees Celsius. That's promises to actually get some sunny intervals for today. On Sunday, it says there's actually light showers kidogo kutoko nayo. It is going to be proper Sunday, yes. 26 degrees Celsius. And then probably some light showers getting into Monday next week. That is how the weather is expected to look like as you expect and anticipate to enjoy the rest of your holidays.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Long weekend loading.
Oh, yes.
You have the diary for the day.
I do have the diary. Today is actually a very loaded day today. There's so much happening, and you can flip the diary with you as we start. First of all, in State House, Kenya will be hosting and Nairobi will be hosting the whole joint mediation talks. So it is mediation talks between South Sudan holdout groups, which are in Kenya, as well as the Juba government, and former army commander is going to be leading that. And let me just get the names proper, as well as a veteran diplomat is also going to be leading the same. So we do expect that to be happening in State House early in the morning. Also, Mithika Linturi is embattled. Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Mithika Linturi is expected to also expected to face the select committee on this particular case on the whole the fake fertilizer scandal. So we do expect to see that as well. He is being represented by his lawyer. His name is quite mouthful, by the way. Thiankolu. Muthomi Thiankolu, yes, on the same. Right, let's take a look at other bits that we do expect for today. The Mai Mahiu flood victims, there will be a whole joint funeral service today. So we do expect Deputy President to be attending this joint funeral service. It will be happening at Mo Gas grounds in Mai Mahiu in Nakuru County. Meanwhile, now in Parliament, the Senate Standing Committee on Energy will be holding a press conference to address the overflowing of the Seven Forks Dam that are used by KenGen to generate electricity. And the committee will highlight the whole damage that has been caused to human life and property, and the whole mitigations, factors that can be used to control the whole future flooding on the same. Still in Bunge, the Senate Finance and Budget Committee is scheduled to hold a meeting today with the Commission on Revenue Allocation, that is CRA, to deliberate on the proposed county government's recurrent expenditure budget ceiling. So we'll be telling you more about that as well. Still in our diary, it is the last day of the Africa Fertilizer Summit, which began on Tuesday, and the Africa Fertilizer and Soil Health Summit, which has been happening at the Kenyatta International Convention Center, that is KICC, has brought together so far African heads of state, dignitaries, industry leaders, organizations, as well as delegates right in Nairobi, just to make some whole data-driven decisions on the African food systems. And we'll be telling you what will be said today on the last day as well. And we'll be also expecting the Senate Committee on Health to be meeting with the CEO of KEMSA to deliberate on what some statements by Senator Samson Cherargei on the bills owed to KEMSA as well. Also, it is the first day of the China-Africa Trade Expo. And China-Africa Economic and Trade Expo Summit will commence today with the Ministry of Trade expected to launch the 3-day expo. That and more in our subsequent bulletins. Definitely stick around for that.
All right, time now for us to take a look at the dailies and our cue for the newspapers. Right, and we start off with the Standard. Linturi love affair clouds ouster trial, and we have an image of the CS for Agriculture. The embattled CS of Agriculture was facing a motion to impeach him. His image is there on the front page of the Standard. In fact, it is the main story which occupies around 3/4 of the page. Fertilizer scandal, Agriculture CS Franklin Mithika Linturi. I didn't know his name was Franklin. Became President Ruto's first minister to face grave charges of gross misconduct and violation of the Constitution during an impeachment motion, clouded by his past misadventures with Aldai MP Marian Keitani. This story is on page 6 and 7, and told the CS got really emotional talking about this issue and his relationship with this MP and how that could be affecting or influencing his current wars. But they've also listed the grounds for his impeachment there. There are 4 grounds, and they're there on the front page, including 1, gross violation of Constitution, gross misconduct, and failure to demonstrate professionalism in the performance of his duty. There's one more, submitted false information to a departmental committee of the National Assembly.
And meanwhile, the MP Wamboka was telling him, ukiachwa chika.
Yeah.
Yes.
So fertilizer imetokea wapi kama ni mambo ya kuachwa. Anyway, another highlight on the front page down there, family plea to Ruto to save son from death. Now this is a story that has been going on, and there's a gentleman who's facing the death penalty somewhere in the Gulf, and the mother, who's a former journalist, is appealing for Kenyans to actually assist in raising the amount of money meant to save him as the days continue to count down. On the top strip of the Standard, the highlights there, school reopening, headache for students, parents and teachers. The president yesterday, even as he declared a national holiday tomorrow, he also announced that schools will now reopen on Monday the 13th. So parents and students as well as schools have been jolted into action. Kama uko umenunua kitabu, nunua sasa. Kama ulikuwa umekula school fees, ole wako. Monday aja.
Peleka mahindi kwa shule.
And finally, doctors end crippling strike. Now, these 3 stories are the biggest. The Linturi case, doctors ending their strike, and of course, schools reopening on Monday. And that's the Standard for you today.
Let's take a look at the Star. Talk about the whole hefty increase and the court's key operations projects at stake. They talk about President William Ruto pledged an annual increment of 3 billion Kenyan shillings to boost the judiciary fund. And so according to MPs who are hiking travel cash as judiciary face budget cuts. But on the collage of photos there, they have the different moments of embattled Agriculture CS Mithika Linturi yesterday on the first day of the impeachment trial. They say Linturi dealt blow as probe team admits new evidence. And we'll be taking a look at, today we do expect him to be facing the committee and just hearing from the horse's mouth what he will actually be saying, even being represented by his lawyer, Thiankolu. On the left, one story that hasn't been talked about in other dailies has to do with the whole Sharon murder trial, and former Migori Governor Okoth Bado was at Raila Odinga's residence in Karen, Nairobi, and not at the scene of the murder of Rongo University student Sharon let me just get that clearly, Sharon Otieno in Homa Bay, as was initially believed. So investigator Nicholas Olesena said media reports that indicated Bado was at the murder scene were untrue. That's a whole other twist on this trial. Getting into other matters, and politicians under probe of a hate speech is, according to Interior Cabinet Secretary Professor Kithure Kindiki, saying that the government is investigating politicians and opinion leaders in 19 counties over harassment and use of extreme violence against bloggers and incitement to violence against political opponents. According to Kindiki, they have set up a special unit at the DCI to deal with the rising cases. Let's see how that will go. And to one of the biggest stories, as you say, Fred, after 56 days, the doctors end the strike after the Medix Inc. deal with the state. And we're again waiting to see how the whole posting and as well as paying the intern doctors will be going. The whole fact that there is that case in court in Eldoret. Other highlights on this front page of the Star at the very top. All schools to open on Monday, May the 13th, as flooding expected to subside. That is according to President William Ruto. So this even as some schools are in a whole dilapidated state, and the infrastructure is destroyed and the materials there are destroyed. So we have to see how, if they're going to get a whole special kind of opening for this particular schools, or how that will be going. That is the front page of the Star.
The front page of the Business Daily goes with this story. KRA pressure on landlords signals fresh rent increases. Taxman takes issue with rent stagnant for years. Property owners required to pay 7.5% of gross rent. Wow, that's a big story. Matters taxation on the front page of the Business Daily. If you're a landlord, you better read that story. Of course, the other highlight on the front page, the photo on the front page of the Business Daily has to do with that return to work agreement signed between the Doctors Union, KMPDU, and the Ministry of Health. And we do have an image there of the SG of KMPDU, Davji Atela, exchanging documents with the CS for Health, Susan Nahumicha, which ended their 56-day strike yesterday. The other highlight on the front page, State House renovations allocated 900 million shillings. It's only 100 million shillings short of $1 billion bob. How about that? More highlights on the ticker. UK overtakes Saudi in Kenya diaspora dollar inflows growth. Elsewhere, DTB to peak CEO for Kenya in reorganization. And finally, pension funds cut stocks holding to 11-year low. That's the front page of the Business Daily.
On People Daily, Mudavadi and Wetangula's big no to Ruto. And they talk about the whole friendly fire. The Western leaders who helped President seize power resist overtures for them to fold up the political parties and join UDA, saying it will be political suicide, was on page 4. And that story extends into, well, page 4, but then on page 2, talk about Ruto's regime is a flop, as Azimio leaders declare. Other highlights on this particular page, back to the front page, has to do with the big story that you talk about, Fred, inside the new deal between the doctors as well as the state. It was a whole long overdue, and finally you've got that covered as well. That is the front page of the People Daily at the very top. Scroll, Linturi blames his troubles on ex-lover MP Kitany. Wow. To see how again that will be brewing up today.
Okay. Kwenye ukurasa wa mbele wa Taifa Leo hamna picha ya Linturi, hata moja. Lakini habari kuu pale yasema tumbo lisiloshiba. Yeah. KRA yashauri wamiliki wa nyumba za kupanga waongeze kodi ili serikali wakate asilimia 1.5 ya ushuru wa nyumba. Okay. So in essence what they're saying is this will still come back to you, to your pocket. You've already paid 1.5% through your salary direct. But now where you live, because the landlord still has to remit an extra 1.5% from his own collection, then KRA tells them, ongeza rent. Huyo Nyaringita amelipa huko kazini, atakulipa hiyo 1.5 uongeze.
Muongeze hiyo.
Yes. So, hey.
And possibly again,
tumbo lisiloshiba.
As again I was saying yesterday, possibly going to see people who are renting this sometime late to this year, they're going to be now closing because the rent that they're going to be paying is going to be quite high.
But people still have to live in houses.
Yeah.
You have no choice. You still have to live inside a house.
But then I'm talking about the whole small businesses that you're renting. Yeah.
Habari nyingine pale ambayo imepewa kipaumbele kwenye ukurasa wa mbele ni masuala ya madaktari. Nafuu kuu, madaktari wakimaliza mgomo wa siku 56. Kuna picha pale ya madaktari wakiwa kwenye mgomo wao. Jana wali sign makaratasi pale wakaagri wanarudi kazini. Kwingineko, mafuriko, Azimio yapiga kelele yakosoa mbinu zilizotumiwa na serikali kukabili janga la mvua. Na kwingineko, masuala ya spoti, ndoto ya Mbappe yazimwa. PSG hawako kokote. Afadhali hao walifika mahali, wengine kama Manu bado watapatapa. Hilo ni gazeti la Taifa Leo.
Then sikumia tukiangalia
hizi zote tumeangazia.
Tukiangalia Daily Nation. They talk about schools set to reopen amid safety fears. Daily Nation is quite light today. 257 is the number of people who have died in the ongoing floods in the country. That is according to government spokesperson Isaac Mwaura. And they say President William Ruto yesterday asked parents to prepare to send their children back to school on Monday. But many institutions destroyed by the floods are still in a state of disrepair, with classrooms and toilets submerged and roads and bridges also damaged. And they're asking, is it safe for all learners? Was on pages 4 and 5. At the very bottom, the highlights that we've taken a look at, the fertilizer saga. Will be expecting to see the second day of the impeachment trial for Agriculture CS Mithika Linturi. The whole tax notice, KRA tax on landlords for failing to raise rents, and the appeal. Stephen Munyako awaits his fate in a Saudi Arabia jail. A team is set up, has been set up to marshal support to save his life, and is appealing to President William Ruto to intervene on this. The very top scroll, which actually takes us now to the back page. They say the deal that ended the doctors' strike, where the government and the KMPDU yesterday signed a return-to-work formula ending a devastating 56-day nationwide strike that has claimed the lives of many and left patients with no option but to pursue healthcare in expensive private hospitals. However, the parties failed to agree on a key factor of the strike, the posting and payment of intern doctors, where the government said this matter is still in court. And more of this is on the back page, where they talk about a whole end of a crisis, the thorny issue of interns' pay unsolved as health workers return to work. And it was quite a lengthy meeting before they actually inked this return to work formula.
All right.
So I'm curious how even the mood was before. Because
must have been a very tense.
Oh yes, because I mean previously the meetings were held, and the KMPD would walk out, and the COG as well as the government would hold its own press briefing, as well as KMPD, and just to see how the kind of mood that was there during this meeting, something else different. That's the Daily Nation for you. You can take a look at the cartoons this morning.
Maswala ya Karakacha, and on page 15 of the Daily Nation, yes, it's all about the doctors' strike that ended yesterday, and we have an image there of the parties signing that return to work formula. But the headline in this cartoon says it is a climb down. So there are staircases on both sides, and people needed to climb down from their high horses and from their high demands and come down to the table and sign that return to work formula. So finally, after 56 days, doctors are back to work. On page 14 of the Standard, matters politics, Raila Odinga, the image there of the Azimio coalition leader, Raila Odinga, juggling balls on a football pitch. And he has one ball branded AUC and another one matters local politics. And a commentator there says, he makes it look so easy. You can juggle balls easily, and he's very comfortable. And that kind of ping pong, many people would not be able to manage. But Raila Odinga makes it look easy. That's a cartoon on the Standard today.
On People Daily, page 10, Stano goes with matters, the Mother's Day. Talk about, look, no man will ever fit this shoe. And it's just a couple of gentlemen looking at a very huge pink high heel. And one of them is holding a banner saying, Happy Mother's Day.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
Stano is days ahead, eh? When is Mother's Day, by the way?
It's Sunday. I told you this yesterday. You've forgotten it again.
Okay.
I understand with your age, but it's Sunday. You can actually take this, because I think the next time we will be on air is Monday. So you can take this opportunity to even tell your mother.
Ahead of Mother's Day, Mom, because I know you're watching, Happy Mother's Day. I love you very much. Happy Mother's Day to my mom.
Yes. Gina.
Susan Indimuli.
Oh, yes. And Mrs. Velista Nyereru Nyeringita. Happy Mother's Day to you. I love you so much, Mom. Oh, yes.
Great.
Naambiwa tena director, I say it again, nirudie tena. Oh, yes. Mrs. Kwa Kikisii itakuwa ngumu.
You show itaisha.
Mrs. Velista Nyereru Nyeringita, my mother, I love you so much. Happy Mother's Day, and you mean so much to me.
Okay.
Oh, yes. And that...
and to all mothers out there, Happy Mother's Day coming forward. Of course, we wish we'd be here on Sunday to wish them Mother's Day, but we will do it again on Monday.
Oh, yes.
Wow. For now, let's take a break. Coming back, we'll have State of the Nation, discuss some of these big headlines and a lot more. Do stand by for that. MCA's caucus. Bwana Kiruga Thuku is a familiar face on this panel, but it's been a while. It's good to have you back. Karibu sana.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Nashukuru sana.
Now, the big headline on the front page of the Daily Nation talks about schools set to reopen amid safety fears. The president yesterday announced that schools will reopen on Monday. Meanwhile, there's anxiety as parents prepare to send their children back to school on Monday. Many institutions have been destroyed by the floods and are still in a state of disrepair, with classrooms, toilets submerged, and roads and bridges also damaged. And questions are many people are asking the question, is it safe for all learners to actually return to school? And let's start from there, Bwana Kiruga Thuku. You know you come from Shinga Ward in Othaya Sub-County, Nyeri County. And how is the situation there? How are the schools? Are they ready to take back students on Monday? Or probably they need some work between now and then?
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for having me here. And even before I answer you, I only wish to express my small disappointment that some of the panelists refused to turn up.
No,
they should have come here.
Jeremiah Kioni encountered some difficulties, so he's not.
Yeah, no difficulties. He's just evading questions. You know now UDA has been very busy consolidating, the country.
And but in that yellow tie.
Yes, of course.
I hadn't even realized.
Of course.
You do not allow party colors in.
This is not like any other. So you are wearing the Jubilee's red yourself, or you are ready to come on a bouquet here. No, the issue is this. At the UDA, we are concentrating more in uniting the country. The party's neck, and unfortunately for Mheshimiwa Kioni, they are balkanizing the country, like things like Kamwene. I had hoped we would get to hear more about it.
Now that you've decided to start with that, let's, before we come to the issue of reopening of schools.
Yes, sir.
Next week on the 17th of this month, there's a meeting that has been called in Limuru, and they're dubbing it, it's dubbed Limuru III. It will be on Friday next week. Now, from history, we've seen what Limuru I was to Jomo Kenyatta, Limuru II to Uhuru Kenyatta, and now Limuru III, which was basically a forum that announced the community's kingpin. Yes? And I wonder if you agree with this forum, or will you be part of it, or do you think it's the right way to do things?
I don't agree with it. I'll not be part of it, simply because whom have they involved? How is it, for example, going to benefit my people in Shinga Ward? How is it going to benefit our people in Othaya? How is it going to benefit our people in Nyeri? How is it going to benefit our people in Mount Kenya region? How is it going to benefit the Kenyan people? Whom have they involved? Have they involved the other players? For example, our political leader today in Mount Kenya region is the deputy president. Our political leader in this country is His Excellency President William Ruto. So all that these meetings should do is align ourselves towards that line. Now, this is a case of a cat imagining itself to be a lion. Nothing much will come out of it. And we are here with you today. Nothing much. As long as 1, 2, 3 people who are famous for wearing sufuria in the head want to call people at Limuru and dab it, whatever they want to dab it, I'm telling you, nothing big much will come out of that meeting. And you can come back here after that meeting and challenge me. That's, you have seen those caricatures of a cat going in a mirror and seeing itself as a lion. That's exactly what they are doing. But it's their right. It's their right to exercise their illusions. It's their right to, as long as they don't break any law, they should go ahead. But they should stop saying they are doing it on behalf of our community. They are not.
Okay.
We are not involved. I'm a leader, an elected leader in that community. And I and the people I lead, we are not part of it. I'm a leader even in my party.
But there's a natural need for a leader that everyone in that community agrees on. and they say, this is our leader going forward, we take direction from this individual. As a community within Mount Kenya region, settled conclusively on one?
Yeah, we already have a leader. As a community, and you know, in fact, these people are just pretending, you know, because maybe of their hatred for the deputy president, but in the history of our region, the foremost or the senior-most political leader assumes the mantle of the region.
Okay.
Just look at the history. Look at Mzee Jomo Kenyatta. Look then at Mzee Moi Kibaki, and to some extent Kenneth Matiba at some point. Look at then what happened to the former President Uhuru Kenyatta. Right now, the senior-most politician in our region is none other than the Deputy President, His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua. Okay. And in as far as discussing the community's future, consolidating our position as a community in government, that is our leader. Okay. Because tell me, how we are at the center of the government, my brother.
And I'd want to invite Lucy Moria onto the set because I know she needs to be part of this conversation as well, as we discuss Mount Kenya politics.
Yes, tell me. And because I'm on the set.
Go ahead. Yeah. Karibu sana.
Welcome, the gracious lady.
Madam Moria.
Hi. I wonder whether she was also coming to welcome Kioning late. So what I was saying is, already, our region and our community, we occupy a pivotal role in President Ruto's government. We have the highest number of cabinet secretaries. We have a sizable number of PSs. We have a sizable number of parastatal heads. Tell me, how can some sufuria donning people just invite us out of the government? What would we be looking for? Ours,
and without necessarily tarnishing anyone's.
We are not tarnishing. No, it is obvious. They don't sufurias in the head. It is obvious. So I wanted to conclude by saying, nobody or no one will mislead our community into our abandoning the path we took in the last general elections of supporting UD and President William Ruto's government, and through our community leader at the moment, His Excellency Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, we can become more powerful in supporting the current government, because that is where our chairs are.
Let's welcome Lucy Moria, political analyst, into this conversation. Karibu sana, and good morning. You found us right in that conversation about Mount Kenya politics. Next week on Friday, we do expect that a number of leaders will converge in Limuru for what they have dubbed as Limuru III. And once they call it Limuru III, then we take a look at what happened in Limuru I and Limuru II, forums which were used by what was known then as Gema communities, the Mount Kenya region, to come up together in unison and name their political kingpin from the region, probably a community leader. And in 1966, when Limuru I happened, Jomo Kenyatta was named community leader. Limuru II, which happened in 2012, endorsed and named Uhuru Kenyatta as the community's leader. Now, Limuru III, or a meeting dubbed Limuru III, coming up next week. And one wonders, should we expect the same kind of outcome from there?
First of all, good morning.
Good morning.
I apologize for coming late. So I don't see anything wrong with Limuru III, like the other Limurus. Every community or every region, they have the right, even individuals have the right to converge and make their own decisions. I don't see any crime. We are seeing it all over the country. You see Western, you see Kinanatembea and their people coming together. There's nothing wrong. Communities, they are just like families. Even family get together to, for unity, and homegrown problems have homegrown solutions. It is the people, the wearer of the shoe is the person who knows where the shoe pinches. So there's nothing wrong to get together. If the Mount Kenya leaders think they don't have a kingpin so far, there's nothing wrong. Yes.
The concern is because the sentiments by Bwana Thuku here, he dismisses that forum and he says it will be inconsequential because the community has already agreed on what they need to do and they do not need anyone else to come into that conversation. That speaks of division within the Mount Kenya region. At a time when...
what has the community agreed on?
That is what he says, that
Yes.
according to the community...
The community has agreed on supporting President Ruto's government.
And
we have our
Rigathi
leader.
Gachagua, the deputy
Yes.
president.
Does
as
that
his
mean
leader.
the Mount Kenya cannot have a kingpin, or Kikuyus cannot have a king?
We already have a kingpin. His Excellency, the deputy president, is our kingpin in the region. And you know, friend, what I'm saying, what I want to clarify here is that it's within the rights of those who are organizing that meeting to go ahead with it. But as long as they are not involving other elected leaders from the region and the majority of leaders from the region, as you have rightly put it, the meeting is inconsequential.
Okay.
So what is involving others? You know, there's no one who can be tied and pulled. If someone goes there, that means their interest is there.
No, I've not been invited, for example.
Let's allow her to prosecute her position.
So I'm saying there's nothing wrong for, because he just said the problem it is having other elected leaders there. If an elected leader chooses to be there, even Kioni and the rest were elected at one time.
Do you feel that probably with this kind of divisions that having Limuru 3 at this time is a bit premature?
I don't think so. Premature for what? For 2027?
Because by the time the Limuru 2 was being held in 2012, the community was moving in one direction. There were no disagreements in as far as who should be the community's leader. This time round, it appears there are very clear divisions, and whichever decision comes out of there is not probably a converged decision of the entire Mount Kenya region.
Mount Kenya actually broke a long time ago. Even the last elections, there was nothing like a whole game of Mount Kenya. There was the Mount Kenya East, Mount Kenya West, so the division was there. There's something which wasn't right. You know, voting and agreeing on a region being together, it is quite different. We could both of us be wanting you as our leader, but does that mean there is a unity? Maybe we are divided in other things. Yes.
Okay.
I wish to strongly disagree.
Okay.
Mount Kenya is very united. Our people made a very unanimous decision. And, you know, most of these, when people go to voting, they declare where their stand is. And what I'm telling you is this. For example, one of the reasons why I don't support whatever is being called the Limuru 3, personally I have not been invited. The leaders in our party have not been invited, even from our region. And when you shun other leaders, where are you headed? Because I'm 100% sure these are leaders who want to show up their standing in the community by trying to bring up big names like Limuru 3. It will not work. Okay. The issue is this. What our region decided is that they wanted to be part of this government. And that is where you find all the leaders in this region, or a majority of leaders, more than 90% of the leaders in the region, they have converged in one party. And they are all agreed. Our community leader at the moment is none other than the deputy president.
It is that position of the deputy president that I want us to interrogate now, because when the decision was made for the deputy president, and we agree that from that region, that is the individual who holds the highest office so far, the deputy president. But on the choice of being a running mate, there was a choice between two individuals from the same region. Yeah. And do we say that the choice of picking one over the other was also the same choice of picking a community leader? Was that the end game?
I don't think so. That is the question. That was just an elective national position. And actually, it's the MPs. I mean, yes, the MPs you selected. I remember even Kindiko was picked and then they changed. I think he had the highest votes. But then for some reason, Honorable Gachagua became the deputy. But I don't think that's an automatic. You know, when you say Mount Kenya, I don't know if he's talking about Central Province, because Mount Kenya it is, you go to Meru, you go to Embu, that's the Mount Kenya region. So.
And you mentioned the division between Mount Kenya East and Mount Kenya.
Yes, it was there, very much pronounced. And that's why you have people like in Muturi was not in UDA.
Did it emanate from that picking of Rigathi Gachagua over Professor Kindiki for the running mate position?
Actually, it widened that time, yes.
Okay. So clearly there are divisions, Bwana Kirugathuku. You cannot deny that there are some murmurs here and there about who. Both of them are in UDA. We're not talking about anything. They are both in the same party. They both work for President William Ruto.
That's the nature of politics. You know, in politics, people will always have a different opinion in things. But what I want to tell you is that there isn't that much division, and as it were, you know, I gave an example, my sister had not arrived here. Just look at the history of our region. Look at Mzee Jomo Kenyatta. He was the foremost political leader. He was accepted as the political leader and the leader of the mountain region. Look at Mzee Moi Kibaki. He was able, unlike Kenneth Matiba, Mzee Kibaki was able to consolidate the whole region. Look at President Uhuru Kenyatta. He was able to consolidate the whole region. Likewise, when the deputy president becomes the senior most politician in the area, by our nature as a region, and I'm telling you, this Nyeri, Muranga, Nyandarua, you know, that central province, and our brothers and sisters in the east, Meru, Embu, and others, we will always be together.
Are you saying there is an agreement from Mount Kenya, the ones you've mentioned, Muranga, Kiambu, Nyeri, and areas like Meru and Tharaka-Nithi? Is there a general agreement that who should be the communities?
Ours comes naturally. And we are solid. You know, of course, there will be those dissenting voices from those who doesn't like the person of the deputy president. But in the interest of our region, because you know the way we say, buffaloes don't graze together because they like one another. But for security, and for the security of our region, for the security of all of us, it's only the misinformed characters who will want us divided. But all of us, we are united and we are saying, this man, the deputy president, he is the senior most political leader in our region.
Do you feel that unity that it
Thus, all of us, we rally behind him, so that even when he sits there in the government, he sits with the president, they are able to discuss our interest in the large perspective. And we are the big, you know, we gain more.
Do you feel there's a need for a proper way of electing?
I don't see. There's a proper way of looking for a kingpin, and the proper way is going the way they are meeting in Limuru. Because being a deputy president, he's the senior most elected position in Mount Kenya, but that is not an automatic thing. So what if President Ruto chooses not to have him as a deputy next time? So do we change it that time again? We start looking for somebody. And a kingpin, even in a family, you can get someone even who is last-born. You have the first-born there, but the kingpin is the last-born. Whoever everyone agrees on. I don't think to be elected as a deputy president, yes, it was automatic because he was under the president who the Mount Kenya elected. So, but that did not mean that all the other regions were agreeing. Remember Kindiki time, people from Meru, Tharaka-Nithi, not that they were very happy anyway. Yeah, okay. I'm saying so.
You know, I want to collect my sister here. And I want to remind her, I want to remind you, friend, and let them tell me if they have any evidence of where we went and elected President Uhuru Kenyatta as the Kikuyu kingpin. Let them remind us or tell us.
There was Limuru II.
No, there was nothing like that.
That's where the announcement was made.
Let me tell you, even if you do 10 Limurus, and the people there on the ground don't accept you. Leaders are not, and Kibaki, where was Kibaki elected?
If such a forum,
So did we have a...
I have this question, if such a forum came up with the name of the deputy president as a community's leader, would you disagree?
That's their opinion, I've told you. That's their opinion, but what I'm saying is, Deputy President, His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua, will not be elected the community spokesman at Limuru III. In fact, those who are doing it, where do they get the mandate? You know, for you to become the political kingpin, it is beyond boardroom meetings. It is, you are there, like the way the Deputy President has been championing the interest of the region, you see? Not only of Nyeri, you know, he goes to Meru. And this kind of praying, trying to pray, I don't know, CS Kidiki against it cannot work. And you remember when that card was tried, CS Kidiki said, I don't want my name to be budded in those things. I'm busy serving the government.
It's not only, it's not only CS Kindiki who's the issue. We've seen other individuals within Murang'a and other areas come up and express some dissatisfaction with the leadership.
That is okay. That's okay. It's their
Meaning
right.
that there are many people within that region who disagree on your idea that it's only the who can be the community's leader.
I want to bring it to you. Many people, even in Odaya itself, were disagreeing. Okay, I don't want to say many, but a few people, even in Odaya itself, were disagreeing with President Mwai Kibaki. In fact, there was no time, even when he was president, that President Mwai Kibaki was elected and opposed. That shows you will always be opposed no matter whom you are. Okay. But as a community today, the majority of us, and I'm telling you, you cannot divide us, the Kikuyus from Nyeri, the Kikuyus, the Merus, whom we count as our little brothers, and you know, and the Embu. You cannot come in between and divide us. All majority of us are agreed.
Okay.
This man, the deputy president, as our community
Hold that
leader.
thought. Let's take a break. I'll hold the thought. We'll take a break now. When we come back, we'll also be welcoming another guest onto the set, Kimani Kamau, who's also a political analyst, will be coming to chime in on this issue as well. Yes, Limuru 3 coming up next week on Friday. Will it be consequential? You're watching Morning Cafe.
One of the most heinous crimes ever committed in Kenya that sent the country into
Watching Morning Cafe on TV47 as promised. We continue this discussion about Mount Kenya politics. It's getting very interesting. In about 7 days' time, in a week's time, a meeting will be held in Limuru. It's dubbed Limuru III. Looking back at history, at what the other Limuru forums have been, in Limuru I in 1966 and Limuru II in 2012, we can only speculate on what will be happening at Limuru III. And joining the panel now this morning, Kimani Kamau, political analyst. Karibu sana.
Thank you.
Before we engage you, Lucy, there's something you wanted to add just before the break.
I just wanted to ask my brother Thuku here. He's saying about Mount Kenya has decided. If Mount Kenya was united, we would not be having. Why would you have other people, other leaders like those ones organizing the Limuru III? So they would have been shut. Okay. Because they are already together. That shows that there's something not okay. These leaders are not just starting because Limuru is coming next week. They have been there. There are so many issues right now in Mount Kenya, so many issues. People, macadamia, mirai, ilienda into the... There's nothing going on in Mount Kenya. Actually, people are very bitter, I'm not kidding. Okay. And you can just get it. Munya is not a man.
Hence my question earlier.
Yes.
With all this division,
yes,
is such a meeting as the one to be held next week in Limuru premature? And I want to bring in Kimani Kamau to help us understand more about what to expect in Limuru III, because I understand you're part of the team organizing the meeting. Precisely.
We are preparing this meeting, and actually not because we are, being sponsored by anybody. We are saying, as my sister has alluded here, that the disgruntlement that we are feeling, that unsettledness that is there in Mount Kenya, is all what is making people coalesce and come together. Let me mention this and say it very straight. That during on the eve of the last general election, people were saying, we are listening to the ground. We are listening to Mashinani. We are listening to what people are saying. We are listening to the cries of the people. This is exactly what is informing Limuru III. It's no more about endorsement of anybody. Okay. It's not about being sponsored by somebody so that he could be the kingpin or she could be the queenpin. And I want to put it this, that our sisters are equally capable to be queenpins in this mountain.
Correct.
Is that the expectation that there will be an announcement of who the communities?
Can I state it from here? I am in the secretariat of very few people, I don't want to mention them here, very few people who are setting the agenda. So you are talking to the right person, not any other roadside declarations I have heard from the opposition and everything else. We are the ones setting the agenda. Among the agendas, there is nothing like crowning anyone to be a queenpin or a kingpin of our region. We are plainly saying this, that the government has shut its ears. The Mira issue you are hearing, no one is listening, no one is talking about them.
Avocado.
The avocado issue, which I have been fighting, the taxation I have been fighting, 3 months before the passage of that 2023 finance bill was effected, no one is speaking about them. Our people, our farmers are crying. We were assured, and I am speaking like somebody who is with the people on the ground. They are telling us, we were told during the campaign that come, we will be giving you the bare minimum prices for your commodities, which will be anchored in law. No one is speaking about that. Now we are giving them an alternative platform to come and now champion these things, not being told by Kimani Kamau or anybody else, because during the campaigns that was the case, that the politicians were the ones reading this discourse. We want them to come and make this declaration.
Okay, so probably our conclusion was informed by the other two meetings in Limuru, that Limuru I ended up endorsing Jomo Kenyatta as a community's leader.
Yes.
And Limuru II in 2012 ended up endorsing Uhuru Kenyatta as a community's spokesperson and leader.
Yes.
And the expectation was that if a Limuru III comes, part of the result of this will be something similar, the endorsement or announcement of someone, an individual as a community spokesperson.
Actually, let me say this. We have seen, and I know Dhuku has never seen me. This is the first time, probably he's seeing me, and yourself and other people. Why am I bringing this? Because we have sat down as upcoming leaders and they decided if things are done the same way all through, we will never realize the results we want. So if Limuru 3 has only been used for endorsements, you get my point? We will never get where we want to be. Okay. Our generation and the generation to come will never achieve that what is supposed to be achieved. So we want to change the narrative that Limuru 3 is not about endorsement. And let me say this, let people not belittle. I'm looking at it and I'm laughing when I'm seeing some people belittling the issue of Limuru with the mountain. People need to know this is a nostalgic kind of object, kind of area, whereby whenever you mention Limuru 3 in Mount Kenya, you arouse some of the emotions and instincts and everything attached to it. So anybody, and you have put it very well, that very, very, kind of big pronouncements have been made there, and they have shaped, one, the leadership of this mountain, economically, and as well as culturally, as well as shaping.
Do we expect such big announcements?
Precisely. I'm saying part of the agenda are huge announcements, but not endorsement. Endorsement is not close to the pronouncements that will be.
It is now clear, Bonathuku, what exactly the agenda will be at Limuru 3. Are you a bit more comfortable with that forum?
Well, let me tell you, these people, and sorry to say so, but they appear a bit confused. Like the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is saying. Because I'm even with some of their friends, some of them are lawyers who specialize on insulting the deputy president. And the things they are writing in those social media groups and what he's saying, they are Arthurians. So all of them may not.
What are some of these things they're saying?
Of course, some of them are saying they are going to announce the community spokesperson. And what I'm saying is this, and I want to repeat this because I think he was not here when I said it. It's the right of anyone or any group of people to converge and discuss whatever they want to discuss as long as it's being discussed under the law. But what I'm saying is this. You see, we have our systems of doing things in this country. That's why we have political parties. That's why we have elected leaders. That's why we have the regional assembly, the county, the county governments and county assemblies. And that is why we have our national assembly and we have our Senate all the way to the presidency. And when you have issues, they are the systems that we follow in having this, addressed. Therefore, what I'm saying is this. Those who want to engage in other issues through other forums, it's their right. But then again, because you see, for example, that Limuru 3 people, you go there, but they have to take recourse to law. Whatever they will come back with, it have to be scrutinized within the realms of the law. Otherwise, they have no capacity to force it in this country. They have no capacity to force it on this country.
You have more clarity on what Limuru 3 by the explanation Bwana Kimani has given. Do you think is the best way to go? Do you think it will be consequential, given the fact that even the deputy president himself has said we can talk, just as Bwana Kirugathuku says, we can talk about these issues elsewhere. There's no need to go to Limuru to discuss the same.
Actually, I don't even know why the UDA team is worried. Why are they panicking?
We are not.
The deputy president himself said he was not even interested in being a kingpin. So why are they forcing him to be a kingpin? And there's no time, at any given time, I also being a Mount Kenya leader, I've never heard anything like our deputy president being an agenda in the Limuru 3. The Limuru 3 is just, like he has said, is about unity of the region, is about sitting down and telling the Wananchi, bring your fears, let us discuss. Now that no one is listening to what you say, now that no one is asking what is happening with the Mira, no one is happening what is happening with the Makodovia, what is happening with our deteriorating services of education and health, let us meet, we are also leaders. All the leaders who are leading those, the Limuru 3, they are also leaders in Mount Kenya, not just leaders. Mheshimiwa Kioni, he was also an MP, he was many things, and now he leads a party. Munya the same. Mother Karua is a renowned leader in this country. are we selecting who is to be Mount Kenya, who is supposed to meet in Mount Kenya? Anyone in Mount Kenya has the right, even constitutionally, you have the right to get together, to converge and say things. So the question of whether they are abusing, I don't think there's anyone abusing the deputy president. He's okay to be the deputy president. He said he's not interested, and he has never been the agenda of Limuru III.
Most of the elected leaders in that region
Yes,
are in the UDA party.
Yes.
The sentiments, according to Bwana Kiruga Thuku, is that those elected leaders may not really be interested in that conversation.
Right.
Is that the case? And do you think that with that kind of detachment from the leadership of the region through the UDA party, then such a meeting could actually have some proper consequences?
Thank you very much. But give me 1 minute, 1 second to respond to what Kiruga is saying. That, one, there are people who are writing, I don't know where, on social media, claiming to be insulting or doing whatever it is. Let me say this. This thing has already been infiltrated by the opposers. And they are creating pseudo accounts, something I know. They are creating pseudo accounts to demean the presidency or the deputy presidency so that it may seem as if Limuru III is about that. So that one we know. And they are sponsored. And we expect this everywhere. You also, we know them. I can even bring them to you. Number two, let me say this. Those elected members are on record, starting with the deputy president himself, stating that this law which was passed, that is, I'm giving an example, of 2023 finance bill, was done not in a better manner. Dede Nyoro, the chairman of committee of budget, is on record having gone to the public. I don't know whether it was a barrier or anything else. And this is where I want to show you the disjoint and why Limuru is important. Claiming that we are now telling the government institutions not to be taxing people and to embrace a public participation before they come and pick revenue. We have had, I am going to mention them because it's on record, the member of parliament from Maragua stating that the constitution of the bill which came to parliament was like a Bible. You cannot read the Bible from Genesis to Revelation. It's not possible. Let me say this. They are elected members. Right now we are crying foul. Our farmers are crying foul. Our traders who have been importing things from China are crying foul, courtesy of that bill.
The question now is, is on the leadership, elected leadership in Mount Kenya region and Limuru III. If at all the two don't come together, one of them will suffer a lack of probably legitimacy.
This is what I'm saying. Today, if they could not have known all these problems, we don't expect them to know the problems. This is what I'm trying to put across. But if we who are outside have already seen this, that's what is affecting our people, and then we form an alternative, we are so sure that they are going to come and join the alternative. So the unity shall be realized.
Is that the agenda that the people of Mount Kenya region, or rather the organizers of Limuru III, are taking a divergent route away from the elected leadership of Mount Kenya region?
I wouldn't call it divergent. Rather, I would call it an alternative way of having our issues addressed.
Okay.
Are we together?
Away from the elected leadership.
Okay. Can I put it this? We have, because again, I don't want you to quote that what I'm not saying. If today we are saying anybody from Mount Kenya, any political leader from Mount Kenya is welcome, we have not secluded them.
Okay.
So it is upon them to decide whether to join this alternative course, to champion the interest of the mountain, or to remain on the other side.
If they fail to show up for Limuru III, all elected leaders who are all in UDA, would Limuru III still have legitimacy? It
will continue. It went through 1966 and not everybody supported it. 2012, not everybody supported it. It will still continue because it's a people-driven kind of exercise.
Okay. Friend, you know, in fact, I would request my brother to cool down a bit.
We can't speak the same, Buku. We are created differently, and that's why you are the way you are, and the way I am.
We are not in a war, but what I want to inform
in
my
Mount
brother...
Kenya, we are in a war.
What I want to inform my brother here, you see it's very clear. Those who are propagating this meeting, and you can hear them saying, I don't know, some are creating pseudo accounts. They are not pseudo accounts. Someone like Dewajiro Wakili, he's all over insulting the deputy president. And those are the people who are telling us to go to Limuru III.
I have never seen Limuru III. Dewajiro.
Relax.
Running for
relax, brother. Relax, brother. I will prosecute my case. You'll prosecute yours when you have your time. Someone like that lawyer, because he's all over telling us to go to Limuru III. And he makes us wonder, are we going there to be told how to be insulting our elected leaders, or what exactly is the agenda? And I've told you this, Fred. We have no problem. You follow the law, you call your meetings, they are allowed. But what I'm telling you, now look at who are the organizers. People who are maybe not elected by the people during the last elections, which is their right again. So it can be concluded, those who are organizing this, and that is what I told you here. People want to use a very big name. People used to use historical names just to show up their political standing in the society. Otherwise, those who are planning for this, they are not involving our elected leaders. You know, when people decide, they decide this is the leader we want. This is the leader we want. When you are saying you want to fight for the people, you must respect and involve those leaders. They are not, you cannot wish them away. So let them go. I'm predicting from where I'm sitting here, nothing much will come out of it, and they will remember my words here.
Yes, Lucy.
Edmond, the Limuru III is people-driven. The coming of elected leaders or not coming, the people have it.
It's inconsequential.
It's inconsequential. And, you know, it's not good, Mheshimiwa Thuku, to underestimate other leaders just because
I'm not.
Just because someone just because someone
I'm
lost just because someone lost an election one time. If you lost an election, you are an MCA elected.
I have lost elections.
So you are not a leader?
I have lost in the past.
So you are not a leader?
By then, were you not a leader?
Were you not a leader?
Okay.
Did you say?
Allow me to.
I will ask the
So what
question.
I'm saying, I've not finished. So what I'm saying, you should not underestimate other leaders.
I'm not.
This one is people-driven. There's no one who is invited by letter. The people, they have been coming themselves involved. You have seen them going around.
But it's an issue of legitimacy when a community meets, the same community elected these leaders in UDA. So if at all the elected leaders, and this is a majority because across that region, most of them are in UDA.
Is Igathon Wamuchomba not elected?
Yes, she is.
Why is she there? Why is she working with the other leaders who are and respecting them?
But I'm saying if a majority of the elected leaders from that region fail to show up for the meeting, it's a question I'm asking.
Yeah.
Won't Limuru III lack legitimacy?
No, why? It can't. No, because all these are also leaders.
You must give us an agenda.
They are also leaders. What agenda? Agenda is not Gachagua, like you're saying. It's not even UDA.
No, give us the agenda.
Okay. Why would we give you the agenda?
Let me take it up from there.
Yeah.
For my sister.
Yeah.
I will give you the agenda. But let me say this. You will agree with me, and I want to correct you, that in Mount Kenya, it's not about majority on one side. Take it from me. Go to the ground. We used to tell people that tunasikiza ground, and this is what we are doing. Mount Kenya is divided into two. And for your information, the matrices is tilting towards the negative from UDA. Okay. Take it from me. We could be having these leaders who went to leadership at UDA, but the people who elected, and remember this, and I want to remind Buku, the sovereignty and the power of governing a nation, it is bestowed on the shoulders of the people. They only delegate to him as an MCA. They delegate to others as MPs. So this is what we are saying. Don't look at the number of MPs, number of MCAs.
But yet they were elected by the...
I am putting this. I am putting it this, and I want to execute it this way. If you remember about BBI, we were here with you. BBI, when it was taken to court and challenged in court, the court pronounced itself as this, that this thing ought to have been people-driven, not leaders-driven. I don't know why it is getting lost on these other people from UDA. There is another pronouncement which was made just the other day by the courts, that anything which is going to affect the power, anything which is going to affect the people, let it be people-driven. And this is what is informing us to use the people to drive this process. Okay. So it's not about leaders. We are not mad.
I have a question for you. Do you have anything against Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua being the community spokesperson? Okay,
let me put it. Here we have been told by Madam Lucy, and it's not only her, the Deputy President himself has said, and is on record, I'm not interested in those positions. He is there to serve the nation as the deputy president. So for us,
the understanding is that these individuals do not necessarily offer themselves for this position. It is the community members that endorse and say and name a spokesperson.
Okay.
So I'm asking, are you as a person from that community, do you have any concerns or misgivings about Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua being the spokesperson of the Mount Kenya region?
I love it. My opinion never counts for that community. It is the community itself to say who needs to be there. So even if I were to say I don't like him and they say that they have endorsed, and you see.
The question was not about liking.
Yeah.
It's about, do you have any misgivings?
Personally?
Yes.
Anybody from Mount Kenya who is elected by the community, not me or individuals, I have no problem with them. Okay. I do not in the name of...
not elected, proposed.
Proposed. Let me see. Allow me kindly, before Kiruka comes. Two things. One, I want to state that if you're talking about kingmanship, if you're talking about leadership of Mount Kenya, spokespersonship or anything, let me tell you, there is a way that it is done. So you cannot just stand on the roads and claim to be the spokesperson. That's why I'm saying, I don't care if the community says that it's you. I am there to be that. But now, he had asked, we give the agenda. The agendas of Limuru 3 are only three. Coalescing only on one pillar called unity of purpose, which will help us, one, drive the agenda of economic unfairness or injustices that we are facing. Today, taxation is all over. It will help us to deal with the issue of socio-cultural issues, including education in our Mount Kenya. They are leaders, you are telling me. And actually, I would hate to use that name because they are telling me they are leaders. Yet, I am not a leader, I'm not elected. But I'm the one who is seeing the injustices that we have in the education system, the injustices we are having in agricultural products, and lastly, we are revolving around issues with leadership itself. Okay. There are crises in leadership.
Final question.
Those are the agendas.
Final question. The deputy president position is currently occupied by an individual from that community.
Precisely.
It's the highest political office occupied by that community. And one wonders, when this individual says that we can address some of these issues in a different way, not necessarily going to Limuru, and he used the example, and he gave the justification that people in Limuru are already suffering from the effects of flooding and other issues, we can have a different forum to discuss this. Don't you think that such an individual bears a lot of influence on the community, including the organizers of this meeting, and probably whatever he says or suggests should be listened to?
I don't know. I will go back to answer your question, and you allow me. We have said that anything which is leaders-driven has ever been even challenged in court. BBI being one of them. And that's why we are making work easier for the deputy president. As the people, even if it will be challenged in court, we will start there and say it's us. Number two, the issue of whether the president at the highest, almost at the highest, position in as far as power of the nation is concerned. We agree with that. But let me ask you, why are we crying for, if at all we have that position? Does it help us?
Exactly.
Does it help us?
Friend, some of these things are just fallacies and fanatical teachings. People are making a mistake. What the court said is that as a leader, it's not in your position to come and change the rules of the country, maybe to your advantage, or to your liking, or to your whims. But that does not remove from the leaders to be the light upon the communities that have elected them. For example, in the last 2 weeks, I've led in the supplying of more than 5,000 of my residents in my ward with goat manure, because it has all the positive ingredients, boosting crop production, it's good for the soil, and what have you. So, let's not keep hyping these things. I don't know, the quote said a leader cannot read. A leader is there and is
now, do you want to refute that judgment?
Relax. A leader is there and is elected to lead, but then under our system of checks and balances, the court said a leader cannot usurp the role of initiating, changes.
Do you agree that there are sentiments within Mount Kenya region that probably the leadership is a bit disconnected? And we saw this because even members of the National Assembly were challenged on their stand, especially on the Finance Act of 2023. They made decisions that finally came to bite the same people who elected them. And some of them made very curious comments after that and said, probably I did not read it. We simply passed it because we were directed to do so. It is too big a document to read from page 1 to the last. This we saw. And yet the same leaders went again to join the same community in frog marching KRA officials who had come to actually implement exactly what they passed. Could there be a disconnect between the leadership that we are talking about and the masses on the ground?
No, you know, friend, you know, people resort to all manner of dramas, and drama can be perpetuated by anyone, and people are responsible for the words they utter, for their actions. It's them to say, you know, it's them to explain themselves. But what I want to tell you is this, and I think I've told you this again. You know, when President Kibaki came into power, many of us thought, wow, here things will, it's like by the swish of a button, things will get well. But here comes Mzee Kibaki, tells us we must pay taxes. In fact, I was watching a clip of him yesterday, thanking Kenyans for paying thrice of what they were saying, and saying even in future, you will pay 4 times of what you have been paying. Now, here comes President William Ruto, who says we have to pay our taxes. In our opinion, this is the way it should be done. And there is no, even we ourselves, there is nothing or no one who is perfect. Friend, we are the product of improving with time. So the finance bill could have had its challenges, and they keep being addressed. Now, I'm getting very fascinated, friend. You know, you yourself, you know very well, I have a foundation that I lead, the Keruka Buku Foundation. And one of our pillars is environment conservation, within which we are using the avocado, you know, avocado seedlings and trees, both for environmental purposes and for economic purposes. So, you know, when people come rushing here, oh, I don't know, people have been neglected, I don't know what have happened. You see, the thing is this, friend. I've said, and I'll repeat, and I'm saying it very clearly here, they are within their rights to call for those conferences. They can call the Limuru 3, 4, 5, or even 6. But the issue is this, friend, and I've told you here, unless they change the way they are doing these conferences, unless even the deputy president, whom they keep castigating, told them, the doors to my office are open, come, let me hear.
Hold that thought. Time for a break, and we'll come back to look at the kind of meeting we're looking forward to.
Right.
How many people are we expecting? And what is this exactly that we're looking forward to on Friday next week with Limuru 3? You're watching Morning Cafe. Let's take a break now. discussions that go on during the break and actually beam them. Because sometimes it gets even hotter. And I think people contain their sentiments once we go back to air. But anyway, you're watching Morning Cafe. My name is Fred Indimli, and I'm still in studio with Lucy Moria, Kiruga Thuku, and Kimani Kamau, continuing this conversation about Limuru 3 and what we should expect there that day. But before we get to that, Lucy, you wanted to respond to Bwana.
I wanted to respond to my brother Thuku. Mr. Thuku, Honorable, I wanted to say that actually it is even, I think it is incorrect. It's a crime to compare the regime of Kibaki and this regime. Kibaki's regime, taxes, yes, were there, but were there changes in the lives of Kenyans? Yes. Were services delivered? Yes, they were. Was the government large or small government? Small government. So Kibaki's government, Kibaki's way of doing things cannot be compared to this. Here we continue with the very high taxation, but the life of Kenyans is going down and down and down. Right now, even we have not even talked about the floods and what the responses and what is happening. And you also said the Limuru 3, they are going to meet at a time when we are having other important things to discuss. I don't think the leaders of Limuru 3 are a bunch of fools. Mm-hmm. These are people who have been talking about these issues. The time the sufuria is talking about, it is our sufuria is still empty. It is now we are worse than we were even 2 months ago. You see what the floods have done. You see how many people are homeless. See how many people are go to Mahimayu, go to Naivasha where their land is being grabbed and it is. So when he talks about the lawyer actually is not leading the Limuru 3. Mm-hmm. Limuru 3 is led by people who even own political parties. These are people who are... He is also a member of the community and he has the right to say whatever he wants. Mm-hmm. So let us not even compare Kibaki's regime and this. Okay. That he is from Odha, imagine, and he was even talking ill of Kibaki, the same Buku.
Where?
So...
Where? No, you know, Fred. No. Yeah. You know, don't just make allegations here. With me, I became an official of Democratic Party at the age of 19 in my area. Kibaki is my political father. He's my political dad. I have never, with me, if you look for a person who would have died for Kibaki.
Let me finish.
Yes, so don't just make allegations.
Okay, let me finish.
You're here to defend.
Yes.
You are here. Let me finish. So, but we cannot compare the two.
We can.
And we cannot say that people cannot change. Okay. You elect people to represent you. Have the Mount Kenya people been represented by the people they elected? The answer is almost no. Okay. And that is why they are uncomfortable now.
I want this conversation
Let me finish. There, we are moving. Let me finish.
And you remember that it is 2 against 1, so you should allow me
we are
to be defending
we are not
against
an individual. Yeah. We are against the right things.
Yeah, and so I have a right to clarify.
The elected leaders, they are there to represent the people. And if you are represented by your leader, you were elected to represent your issues or why you went there, they will not even be complaining. Mm-hmm. A leader is there to go and make policies for you. Have the Mount Kenya leaders made the policies that actually, did they support the policies that favor the people who put them there? Mm-hmm. The answer is as good as you know. Okay. The other one, I've not finished, please. I didn't talk when you were talking.
Okay, briefly, just conclude.
So what I'm saying is the Mount Kenya people, they want to meet, they want to come and discuss because changes is the only thing which is constant. Okay. And so if there need to be a change in 2027, this is the time to start organizing what they want, and they have the right, and these are the people, and these are Mount Kenya people. You can be a leader, but still, Thuku, you are still a Mount Kenya person. You're in the community still. The person who was not elected belongs to the community. So just because you are comfortable, a few of you are comfortable, we can not say everyone else is comfortable. Go to Maua now, go to Igembe.
So that we give one
Thank you, Fred. Thank you, Fred. You know, I'm privileged that I sit in my party's neck. And, you know, this is the highest organ in the party. And our key mandate is helping our party leader and his deputy in executing our party manifesto. And one thing I can tell you, and you know it is very wrong with my sister, but it's okay, it's our opinion, I respect it, but 100% disagree with it. When she keeps repeating here, this guy, I don't know, this leadership cannot compare with Kibaki. You know, those are desperate attempts at taking a dig at our party, but what I can tell you here, as a person who sits in our party's neck, is that most of our policies as a party, they follow in Kibaki's leadership. That is why you find our president saying, just like President Kibaki, and I was there supporting President Kibaki very, very much. And I can tell you there are a lot of similarities I can see between Mzee Kibaki's approach to governance and the current government that we have.
And the opportunity you had was only for a rebuttal.
Yes. So what I wanted to clarify, friend, is that most of what we are pursuing as a party is what was being advocated by President Kibaki. And we are not turning back on that.
I want us to move now to the organization of the Limuru III. How big a meeting we expect, how many people. You've already explained to us the agenda, how long the meeting probably will be, the location if you can, and of course, who do we expect to be the chair of this forum?
Thank you. But before I answer that, I know, Fred, you will allow me to rebut to what Mheshimiwa is doing. Because now I have seen the tactics of now campaigning for himself, talking about manure, talking about being in neck and everything else. And I can tell you this.
But it's a fact. Am I speaking the truth or not?
You know, we can't allow a lie to spread. Because if a lie is repeated,
which lie?
And actually things that are irrelevant.
Which lie?
In as far as, in as far as
what have I lied?
I'll give you an opportunity to
respond.
If he says I'm lying, he tells you.
It is my time. You know, Buku is talking so slowly, so he's catching your attention. And you see, he's experienced in raising hands in, in the Nyeri, for him to be given an opportunity. So it is my time. Let me say this. So you need to know that. One, claiming that this administration is the like of Kibaki's administration, it's, the joke of the year. The joke of the year. I would not repeat even what she has just said, because what she has put across, Lucy, is exactly how it is. It's like life and death. But I want to say this. He said, and this is where the lie comes, that the electorate expected a switch and things, bang, change. Exactly the anticipation we had in 2002 when we were electing Kibaki. And it happened. But it has not happened this time around. So that's a lie, saying that you are comparing yourself. Let me say this. We did elections in 2002 December. Are we together? But in January 2003, the manifesto that Kibaki had, one on free education, primary education, was effected. So was it rocket science for these people? Because these people got power without having prepared what they wanted to do. Kibaki knew where he was, where this nation wanted to be, and how to execute this. And that's why immediately after that, December 2022, January, he was executing that. So we would have expected wonders, if not miracles. If, after all, this was put, the government was put in place through prayers. So we wanted miracles. Number two.
I need this conversation now to move on.
Now let's move on now. You are asking about the people,
come to you,
Kiroga, when you talk slowly, and I said we are not the same. We are created differently. So allow us to speak the way we do, and that's how we convey the message. One, a number of people who are going to come is as large as it should be. But of course, due to some other conditions, due to some other limitations, we are containing this because to any other number that has ever been there before in Limuru 1 and Limuru 2. close to 2,000.
Okay.
Are we together?
So
because
we expect 2,000 people to congregate.
To come together. Okay. And this will be even more than the number of leaders that you are saying have been elected. So a declaration made by 2,000 people will be of very huge significance as opposed to a declaration made by the
from the whole region.
The whole region.
The demographic of where
Perfect. Actually, we are looking for all Mount Kenya leaders, including those in the diaspora. We are talking of over 14 counties who have shown interest of joining the rest of the mountain to come and declare the resolutions of what they want. Number two, you are asking about the planning and what time it will take. Of course, Limuru III, it's an open secret that any Limuru III for the mountain takes place at a certain venue, which is known, Jumuiya Conference Center. It's something which is already known. Number two is that, as I said, do not expect any political national figure you have been seeing or you are familiar with to be the chair, to be the convener, to be the facilitator. Kimani Kamau is there. I'll be among, I don't know whether my secretariat will elect me as part of the facilitator.
Are you saying that the convener is not decided? Who's convening the meeting?
The meeting is convened, as we were told by Lucy, by political leaders from the mountain.
Jointly.
Right from Meru, Embu, Lamu, everywhere, jointly. Are we together? But in terms of facilitation, and this is why, this is the beauty part of it, and the way I'm liking it, because I can see you already, there are some minds which have been fixed that we are going to do things the normal way. We know that we will have a chairman, we will have this, we will have the other. This is a secretariat because we want a consultative thing and something that is going to be owned by the people, but not an individual. So that's why we are so specific that this team which is organizing will be the facilitators and will decide who is going to take what role.
People driven. People driven. They will choose even the chair there.
Yes.
Friend, thank you, Fred. You know, my brother keeps saying everyone have their way of communicating, but you know, even the way we communicate, it at times brings out when we are about
I don't think you are a communication expert to advise anyone on communication.
You know, he gave his opinion, I'm giving mine.
Yes.
In fact, I was scared at times. He looked like he can just have a cardiac arrest. He was so agitated.
It is the energy with the Mount Kenya leaders. That's the energy we are taking to Limuru III. And you must be sure that we are coming for you guys.
Listen to the language now. Higher. Now, friend, what I want to say, and this is a fact, we have a government, and it is for the people to choose. You know, they will have their say, we will have ours, and people will choose. But, you know, there are those promises that this government made to its people. And already, things have gotten underway, things are moving. For example, during their time in power, Unga was so high.
Time in power?
Yes. Have I ever been in power?
No.
Luku?
You know,
the understanding of this panel is that no one, apart from you, is an
Lucy, have you ever been in power?
No. You know those. You know they are conveners. You know they are here. You know.
So who is on power here?
You know they are here. Mm-hmm. You know you cannot. In our community we say, you cannot hide in an open land and you are wearing a white. You hear them mentioning Kioni, you hear them mentioning
who has mentioned Kioni?
You hear them mentioning Mother as a part of their group. So people know who are the
now that you have mentioned Gachagua, are you here because of Deputy President?
You will have your time. Let's have your time, don't worry. Here we give each other time, don't worry. You know, he confessed he is just new here, so he will catch up as we go on. Now, the issue is this.
You're lucky.
When the leaders who are leading them are in power, things got so high in these prices of basic commodities got so high. That is why we were getting very fascinated when we saw them resorting to those antics, you know. But this government have come. Look at the price of Unga today. Look at the price of fuel.
I have a question.
Yes.
I have a direct question.
Yes.
There have been sentiments and complaints for the Mount Kenya region about issues that this government should have addressed or has affected that have not gone down well with the community.
Yes.
Do you agree that?
Look.
Do you agree with that?
We are a listening government. And what is happening, Fred? Our ears are on the ground. We are interacting with the people on a daily basis. And
there are concerns that are yet to be addressed by this government.
Of course, you cannot address anything. Even him himself, he said you cannot read Bible in a day. So the issue is this. We are addressing the issues our people are raising vis-a-vis implementing the manifesto we promised for our people. Look, when this government got into power, the prices of fertilizer were at 7,500. We have cut the prices halfway. Then we have come down to 2,500.
Oh, yeah.
Look,
no,
let them relax, let them listen.
The fake one.
Of course, friend, everything about the fertilizer is not about being fake. We have subsidized production rather than consumption, and you see that is very good. It has worked. But you see, there are some funny characters who doesn't want this government to succeed, and the president have led from the front in saying everyone who sells fake fertilizer, they are destroying this country. Okay. Friend, look, I come from Nyeri. The load from Nyeri to Nairobi, it was like 30% done by the time the Jubilee government was exiting power. Now, 90% of the road has been done. So what I'm saying is, there is progress and there is more to come. All indicators, the economy, all key areas have stabilized.
You are acknowledging that there are issues, but you're saying that the government is working to address them.
And I'm telling you this, friend.
Are you acknowledging that?
I'm acknowledging that in the history of the country, not only here, even in America or in all the major democracies, and even in the major economies, challenges will always be there, but this government is on top, and eventually things will get very better.
Lucy, as we get closer towards the end of this, because we only have like 6 minutes or so, do you feel that this will be consequential? What are you looking forward to getting from Limuru 3? What kind of a resolution are you looking forward to hearing from Limuru 3?
I'm looking forward at least for the unity of Mount Kenya, because it is divided, and I am sure if you hear of almost over 2,000 people will be there. Those represent a big chunk of Mount Kenya people. Mm-hmm. It starts from Meru, Tharaka Nithi, Embu, diaspora also. So anyone who feels and who wants, who is there for the best of Mount Kenya will be there. So I'm expecting unity kubwa sana.
With this kind of division,
don't worry.
Feeling that
you know, there is always right, there is always no, there is always proposers and opposers. So we are not going to be discouraged by a few people who cannot even perform their duties on what they were elected for. If they were, I'm telling you, these Mount Kenya people are smart. These are business people. These are farmers who are very serious, who concentrate after elections. They have no time to waste. But if you see them now, kunungunika throughout, there's no Mount Kenya. Even the kiosks, they are finished. You can't find them. Even the hawkers, they are not there anymore.
The concern is that with this kind of division, that this meeting and its resolutions could just end up causing or widening the already existing.
What I know, whatever resolution will be made there, whoever is left behind, you know, there are different groups of people in understanding what is good. Kuna the fast learners, kuna the laggards, wale wako huko nyuma, but eventually when something good like what is going to come out of the Limuru 3, I am sure our brothers will just be together with
the Deputy President has extended an olive branch, and it's to the public, and extended an olive branch to some of the organizers of this Limuru 3, to Kioni, Martha Karua, and even Peter Munya. And one wonders, from your side, has there been any attempt to try and involve this elected leadership, including the Deputy President, into the Limuru 3? Is there any proactive engagement to bridge the gap between the two groups?
I would start by saying this, Fred, that it is wrong even to be calling Mheshimiwa Kioni and Mheshimiwa Martha. I've mentioned them for the first time right now, so Luke should correct that. Number two, because they are not part of the secretariat, for your information. Okay. They are within the team which is planning, but they are not the secretariat.
They come from Mount Kenya.
Invitations, if they are going to come, they will come from my secretariat. Mm-hmm. Are we together? So that's wrong. So even if it's the Deputy President, I wish he could be addressing me. I would be in a position to answer. But in regard to what they will decide.
Now that you sit in the Secretariat, is there any attempt?
Yes, actually, precisely yes. And a big yes. And we have said time and again that any leader from Mount Kenya is welcome. What probably may be people who have, the big man's syndrome, like Kiroga, because he's elected, be expecting for me to be, moving with a briefcase of letters telling them we need you and just begging them to come. I cannot do that. Let me say something. I don't need to do emails. If anybody cannot hear, because somebody in Lamu, as far as Mpeketoni, has come and has joined me, actually in the plenary, to plan for this.
In diaspora?
I never wrote them. Yeah, in the diaspora. I never wrote them a letter. I have seen people I have never seen in my life.
I've never been read. I never received any email.
But I want to say this, a very important point that I need to put across in regard to what you had asked my sister. That I think she tried a lot to tell you exactly how this position will be or how this thing will be. There is nothing like division. It's actually a creation of the government and a creation of the side that do not want Limuru III to succeed. 2,000 people, and I said and I reiterated, and I want statistics to talk because figures do not lie. Right now, we are not talking about people being in government, those who were elected, the leaders who are in the government. We are talking of people who, yes, cast their votes to elect a certain leader, either in UDA or any other, which was affiliate of KK, but right now they feel disgruntled. Can I take you to Luduri, what happened the day before yesterday? That people are claiming there is planned target against the traders from Mount Kenya.
The hawkers.
The hawkers have been targeted. So what we are saying is, if at all they are in leadership and they are telling you that they are making things better, why are they not seeing these problems?
Okay. Your parting shot, Kimani.
My parting shots are these. Let us all meet in Limuru III. Let us make declarations. And what should be take home for our viewers today, Fred, is this. No crowning of anybody to be either the spokesperson of Mount Kenya, to be the political leader of Mount Kenya, to be anything. We are there as commoners, people with interest, common interest from Mount Kenya. Mount Kenya, we are having over 14 counties, including the diaspora, and these are the people that are going to be in Mount Kenya.
Okay, I'll give you the final word, Bwana Kiruga.
Okay.
What I'm saying.
No. Let her say. Let him say.
Go ahead.
Thank you very much. Okay, friend, what I can tell you today, if you have some money with you, you can be able to very comfortably bring together a crowd of 10,000 people. But those people don't have to be there because of any ideological attachment with what you are telling them. They'll just be there for a good pay of the day. So let people not just get very excited that 2,000 people will be meeting somewhere. They may meet there because you are giving them some allowances, but they don't believe in what you are telling them. And let me say this, Fred. You know, what I find most intriguing, and I think that is even what the Deputy President was trying to get, if you are talking about issues affecting people, why do I have to come from Othaya to Limuru for those to be addressed? Why, for example, can't you write a petition? Because I'm telling you, friend, this country, we are a country governed by laws, a country of order. Just going out there.
Yeah, this is your parting shot.
Yes, just going out there just to shout or you attack the government, that does not give you leeway. If you are serious, and that is why the Deputy President was saying, my brother Kioni, my sister Mother, come so that if you have any grievances we can address within the government, I'm ready to listen, I'm ready to take up the issues you have with the government in which I'm the second in command. But you see, because people are interested in drama, they have to go there, they shout and shout. But we are interested in solving the issues affecting our people. We will continue doing that as the elected representatives, as people who sit at the highest organ of the party that is given power to implement what was campaigned upon. We will continue supporting our president and the deputy president in implementing friendly policies to our people. Things may not be perfect, but we are heading there.
Lucy, you get the final word on this.
My final word is this thing, the Limuru III is beyond, Mheshimiwa Kioni is beyond, Mother Karua is beyond all the leaders. He's mentioning Honorable Munya and the former governor of Laikipia. So this is a people-driven event. It is the people of Mount Kenya, they are not satisfied, they are uncomfortable, wameona wanaenda kuingia kwa shimo. It's a high time the Mount Kenya people come together, they reason together. Even the Bible says, let us come and reason together. You don't come to reason together when everything is okay. If there's a problem, you must come and reason together and look for your way forward.
You can give me some of the problems.
We are not giving.
I volunteer to take your problems to the government. Now that I'm in government.
Give her time, please.
We are also government. This is the government of the people by the people. It's our government.
It is your time.
You know, but it already, you know, now he's saying we give him, we take to his government. They already actually told us.
Admitting.
They already even admitting, like they had said before.
They don't know
this is a government of shares.
Oh, yes.
So are you still
I want to hear your problems. I can take them to government.
Thank you so much.
No, you're even
Our time is up. Our time is up.
You know, they consumed my time. He has already acknowledged that the government of shares continues. That is why people like the Mount Kenya, poor people who are meeting in Limuru, they have no right.
All of us are shareholders.
What I'm saying, and only for you, please, we welcome you as a leader. So, and now because you have a voice there, talk to your other leaders, tell them
the problem.
Welcome.
Give me the problem and take the government.
Come and hear what the Mount Kenya people are saying.
Tell me now.
Asante sana.
I'm ready to listen now.
Allow me to end the show. Allow me to end the show. Thank you so much, Lucy Moria, Bwana Kimani Kamau, and Kiruga Dhuku, chairperson UDA-MCS caucus. Thank you so much. Our panelists this morning on State of the Nation, and you can see what kind of division